All right, it's getting a little mushy in here today. Good morning, welcome to Lost for Words, where we're exploring great women poets. I'm Sarah Woods. Today, we are still continuing our journey into the poetry of Rupi Kaur, right here. And today we're going to be exploring the section in her book called Rising. This is from The Sun and Her Flowers. As we've been diving into this book, we've discovered that this book is broken up into 5 chapters, and each chapter is based off of something that a flower does. So we've had, let's see, what were they? Wilting, falling, rooting, and now we are on rising. I feel like the previous chapters have been kind of heart-wrenching and kind of sad, with like, while at the same time sort of like a reaching for hope or reaching for healing intermingled into those chapters, even though they had a lot of heartache. But this chapter is called Rising, and I was very curious if this chapter, or if any of these chapters, were actually going to have a feeling of like, okay. Like, I mean, it's called The Sun and Her Flowers, so you kind of have this feeling that you're going to read something that is gonna feel like, you know, blooming and sunny. And we fast discovered that all the things flowers go through are not just peaceful, happy, blooming in sunshine kind of days. Flowers have their hard days too. But this chapter, okay, it does have a turn. I will say this chapter does have a turn. So when you first open this book, the very first piece of writing is in the chapter of wilting, and it says, "On the last day of love, my heart cracked inside my body." And so you step into this loss of love, this like heart-wrenching, maybe like a breakup, and you sort of walk through this experience of love ending for her. And like, it's a painful, these are very, to me, painful pieces of writing. But over here, so we've walked through like this much heartache. And now we turn the page, and it says, in the first piece in the section on rising, and it says, "On the first day of love, you wrapped me in the word special." So here's a little picture that she drew. I don't know if you can see it. So after all this heartache, you are finally like, okay, now we're gonna go somewhere that feels good. Love has come back. Again, on the first day of love, you wrap me in the word special. So I said this chapter is kind of a mushy chapter. I'm like, I have a little bit of a like, with mushy things. But she does. It appears that she falls in love again. Love, she rediscovers love. Love happens again in her life. She comes back to life, sort of feeling in this chapter. And if you skip over to 157, she says, "I feel apprehensive because falling into you means falling out of him, and I had not prepared for that." Forward. So you start to have all these poems about having been through something so painful, and then having to like be brave enough to like love again and fall in love again. this one, it's called, it says, this is on page 161. The middle place is strange. The part between them and the next is an awakening from how you saw to how you will see. This is where their charm wears off, where they are no longer the god you made them out to be. When the pedestal you carved out of your bone and teeth no longer serves them, they are unmasked and made mortal again. So there's really a feeling in this chapter to me of like she was at some point in love with someone else, and she was like in this place like with them, and then it ended, and she had all this heartbreak, and now she's falling in love again, and she's like having to like let go of that older person in order to fall into this new person. And so you have all these poems about, you know, falling in love, and trying not to like bring that past pain into this new relationship. This is what it feels like to me. And you know, she has these like ooey gooey poems about falling in love, and then sort of like this fear of it at the same time. I'm trying to not make you pay for their mistakes. I am trying to teach myself you are not responsible for the wound. How can I punish you for what you have not done? You wear my emotions like a decorated army vest. You are not cold or savage or hungry. You are medicinal. You are not them. So you can tell, like, you have this girl who's like been like very hurt, like trying to fall in love again and trying not to like push all that stuff, all the things she's been hurt with, onto this new person. Yeah, and she has all the mushy poems. I'm not reading the mushy poems. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I can feel her sort of like going back and forth. I'm just now, that actually wasn't what I was going to focus on, but now that I'm looking through it again, I can feel that. Okay, but I have to say, I was like a tiny bit disappointed, because when I thought of this book, it's called The Sun and Her Flowers. I always thought that the sun and her flowers, I thought Rupi Kaur was the sun and these poems were her flowers, or like, I don't know, but I thought it was all her. And when you come to this poem, this is, I believe, the poem that this book is based off of. That is not the meaning, and I'm so sad. Okay, this is it. It says, what is it? So this is like a guy, I guess, talking to her. He says, what is it with you and sunflowers, he asked. I point to the field of yellow outside. Sunflowers worship the sun, I tell him. Only when it arrives do they rise. When the sun leaves, they bow their heads in the morning. That is what the sun does to those flowers. It is what you do to me, the sun and her flowers. That's the little title she gives it at the end. Here's her little drawing. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah. So I have to say, like, I mean, I feel like it's a very, like, honest poem. I feel like falling in love can do that to lots of people. That they're sort of like wilted when nobody's loving them, and then when that person shows up, it's like they like come to life. But I feel like I found that, I feel like for some reason this feels sad to me. I think because, I don't know, I guess because in the beginning you have all this wilting, falling, rooting, and it's like very like heart-wrenching. It's very sad, and the beginning of the book is like heartbreak, and it just makes me think, like, if she's the sunflower and whoever she's in love with is the sun, that every time this person, like her happiness and her wholeness and her whatever is completely like dependent on this person that she's like in love with, like that when they're gone she's nothing, and when they're there she's everything. She's lit up, she's opened up to the sky. When they're gone she's wilted. Which, yeah, I was so sad. I really thought it was like I don't know, like when I read this book, I thought, or when I got this, I thought like, okay, this is going to be about her. Like, she's the sun, and like these poems are like her flowers that she's, you know, cultivating, or you know what I mean? Or her life is her garden. I don't know. I don't know why I thought that. But yeah, you can hear here she says, sometimes I stop myself from saying the words out loud, as if leaving my mouth too often might wear them down. I love you. You can feel her fear to fall in love again. But I guess I can see, like, if the person you're falling in love with is your sun and you're the sunflower, then like there, and you've been with, like, you've experienced heartache and being without a sun in your life, then probably I imagine there's a lot of apprehension about letting that experience happen again, because you know once you like open up like that, they could just, it could end again and then you'll be back to being wilted. I don't know. I feel like, yeah, she has all these poems. Yeah, there's lots of in love poems. Okay, so there's one poem that I really like. It's just a little piece of writing, page 183, and it says, when you are full and I am full, we are two suns. I think I like that better than the metaphor, even though it's probably a very honest one. I guess my ideal I like to idealize things. To me, what would be more ideal is this poem. When you are full and I am full, we are two suns. Like, to me, that makes me imagine two people who are like very alive and like radiant, and like you imagine them coming together, and I don't know, like that their relationship is like this like fire that's like passionate and healthy, and where both people are in their fullness, but they're like getting to go through life together. Like, I feel like I like that a lot more than the idea of one person being the sun and the other one being a sunflower. That's just me. I don't know. So Rupi, if you write another book, I want to hear about your experience as one of those, your experience as the sun. But anyway, so I think I'm going to keep that short and we'll keep that there. But we have one more chapter, and it is called, I think it's Blooming. Yeah, we have one more chapter and it's called Blooming. So I'm excited to see what she does in that chapter. So it'll be fun. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a great week. Bye.